in Podcast Detroit, recording live. Prepare yourself for a hoppy drive. If you're chilling at home, pop that growler and just kick back for the next 2 hours. It's the end of the week, so here's to the weekend. It's Better on Draft with Rob, Matt, Nick, and Ken.
And we are live, episode 217, Better on Draft podcast. 217, we're still in quarantine. My name is Ken. Welcome to the show. I hope you all are happy that you are here. I am happy that I am here. I am drinking a beer from probably my last trip ever to Boston. I've got myself a Maine Beer Co. King Titus. I actually drank a Zoe earlier this week, and I just kind of wanted to finish it as we move on to the next chapter of our lives. With me to my left, Nicholas. How you doing?
8 more days.
8 more
I get
days.
Keys to the new house.
Oh, to the new house.
To the new house. 8 more days.
Congratulations.
I can't wait. So next Friday, we'll be bringing out bigger, better, probably even more quicker to get drunk beers to celebrate.
Quicker to get drunk. So a dirty rack, a dirty 30, some natty daddies maybe?
No, probably. We'll see.
Maybe some Four Locos. That'll get you fucked up fast.
I'll drink that for Rob.
What are you drinking right now though?
I, in my normal double fist fashion, I got a Dragon's Milk White from New Holland, and from Boston, a Sam Adams Nectarine Goza from their R&D brew facility over there in Boston.
All right. What do you think of them? Have you had anything yet, or did you just crack both of them open?
Well, I've had Dragon's Milk White. I like it. The Goza's okay. It's, nothing to really run home about. It is a little different than what we're so used to seeing Sam Adams do. They're obviously a Boston lager. The cherry wheat, you can't go wrong with cherry wheat. And what's their winter one called?
Cold Snap?
Cold Snap. Yeah, Cold Snap. It's a Goza. It's from Boston. It's from Sam Adams.
I'm kind of proud of myself that I pulled that name out of my ass too. Is that their winter ale, or is that their spring one? I can't remember which one.
No, that's their winter one. Wait, what's their spring one?
They do have a spring one. I don't remember what it is for sure.
I'll find out.
It's definitely one of those what I call like a bowling alley craft beer, because they always have Sam Adams and then whatever the craft seasonal Sam Adams.
Yeah, well, what's always they don't do it anymore. The normal bowling alley that you and I usually bowl at, the Line and Kugel, the winter one, their porter. Oh gosh, what is it?
Couldn't tell you.
I'll find that out later too.
You guys were probably the slowest bowlers. Snowdrift.
Snowdrift. Thank you, Wendy.
You guys are probably the slowest bowlers I ever bowled with, and that is like...
Well, when you're in a bowling league where the average age is 72...
Yeah, and the average age for our team was 30, like 33, and we were still the slowest.
Well, that's what happens when you have 2 league officers on your team.
Yeah, that's what it was.
We actually declared the end of our season this week, formally.
I'm kind of upset because the bowling alley close to me has a singles league where you can.
You told me about that.
Yeah, you can bowl anytime throughout the week, and you post your scores, and you don't have to go show up every a specific date, a specific time. You can also pre-bowl multiple weeks, so if you're going to be gone, and I'm so sad that I'm going to not probably be able to do that this year, so I'm going to have to wait a whole year before I get back into a league. But speaking of bowling, and Rob, how you doing? I don't know how.
What?
That's it. What a segue for Rob there.
I don't know how that came to me in
Speaking
bowling.
of bowling, Rob.
Right. Speaking of bowling.
Rob, do you even bowl?
No. No.
Okay,
the kids were on a league, and then of course all this shit happened, and the league has been all stopped. So they bowled when they felt like it, but for the most part, no. I don't bowl. I'll throw it down for something to do with the family to go out and do, but for the most part, no. But yeah, everything's still pretty much running over here. On at least 3 to 4 cylinders. Uh, we're still making it work. All 6 of us in the house and kind of being together and being in our own spaces and obviously still working. Still the trivia virtually has started to really pick up. So I've got my regular shows with that, and now the family wants to do more trivia as well. So they've been pushing me to do a little bit more in the coming weeks. So
I see
keeping
a
busy.
lot of people are doing like these internet trivias, specific
Hmm.
trivias. A lot of I think this is your kind of opportunity to be able to get more kid friendly trivia where you
Yeah.
can get because it's not a bar. Kids can join. How and I think I've asked you before, but I'm gonna probably ask you every single week because it blows my mind. How do you stop cheating?
We have drones.
Yeah,
The
drones.
drones. We have drones that attach themselves to everyone's IP addresses, and they just basically fly over to the house and make sure that people aren't cheating. And if they are cheating, then they get tased. That's
Well,
so.
uh,
Who knows? But I'm drinking something a little bit new this week, courtesy of the Ferndale Project. It is a double dry hopped dry cider, uh, which is, well, I guess we'll see how interesting this is. But it's a Michigan apple blend, double dry hopped with Mosaic, Citra, and Mandarina, Bavaria.
I gotta figure out like they do delivery once a week to Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor. So I'm gonna see like when they get coffee cider. I'm obviously gonna be buying a bunch of coffee cider. What'd you think of that pour though?
Oh man, that is good.
Pretty
I
good.
wasn't sure what to really expect from a double dry hop cider, but man, that is
It's the
it's
best
like
double dry hop cider you've ever had.
I mean, shout out to FP for putting this one out. But yeah, I saw that yeah, they are doing the deliveries out there. You got to order. I believe you got to order Tuesday before noon, and then they'll bring it out there. And there's like one specific day, I think it's Thursdays, where they just basically do all of Wayne County. So anybody out there in Wayne County wanting to get some, or obviously Ypsi, Ann Arbor on Tuesdays, get up there, go on the site and order it.
Well, also on the show, Wendy, how you doing?
Fantastic. It's been a great week.
What is
It was not a great week until today. Was a fantastic week because I found out that I was not going to lose my job.
Woo!
Oh.
So, woohoo.
Yeah.
So I decided to pull out the Tabor box this week because it arrived a week early, which was really exciting. So I'm drinking a Summer Camp Crush New England IPA from Saltfire Brewing Company in Utah. It's pretty tasty. I like it.
What's the ABV on that?
That is 7.1%.
Oof. They didn't mess around when they stopped the 3-2 laws out there. They just went big.
Yeah, they got, and then I've got this gigantic can
Like
from Junkyard Brewing in Minnesota.
Is that an oil can or is it?
That's what it feels like.
That
I'm
looks
like,
like
I
an
can't even
oil
put my
can.
hand all the way around it, man.
Are you sure it's not Foster's? They just put a different
They
label
just
on
changed the label. Yeah.
It might be.
You don't see very many oil cans with beer.
Junkyard.
It's a pretty cool.
It's Minnesota
it's a
for
pretty cool
beer.
can though. Like I like the art on it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So
And-
I'm interested to try that one out.
How's Graham doing? What's she drinking?
She is actually going to drink an orange creamsicle beer with me later because when I was pulling out all the stuff out of the Tavor box, she was like, "Well, I've never had an orange creamsicle beer. I would like to try that."
Nice.
Please tell me that's drank.
It is.
Oh my goodness. That one is superb.
It's fantastic.
I
So
don't
Graham
like
and I are going to
orange.
sample that later.
I don't like orange creamsicles, so I've probably seen them before. I think isn't there a dank orange creamsicle or the odd side fudgesicle series or whatever? I think there's an orange creamsicle. I'm just talking
Yeah.
out ask.
Yeah,
Dan,
no, there is.
Dan, what's
no,
up?
there is one. Go ahead.
Say what?
I was gonna say they're telling me there is one, an orange creamsicle from the Odd Side Icicle series. Sickle? Sure. So there's an orange one. But what do you got over there? What are you drinking?
Oh, let's see. I've got a couple of things. I'm pulling a Nick. I'm actually double fisting. I got
There
this.
you go.
Yeah, I got this new.
King Cobra.
No, this is not King Cobra, but close. So this is a hard seltzer that I got put into a crawler. Yeah, being a little bit weird, called New Science by Bottle Logic at a whopping 5%. And then picked up me an Abracadabra coffee milk stout.
Oh,
Double fist
dude.
with.
I am so jealous.
I'm sorry.
A little.
I mean, I
what-
can ship you some.
Ship some bells back to him.
Yeah, get
Send
some
it over to
belt-
Michigan.
Yeah. Dude, that milk stout is so freaking good. That's like one of my favorites. Is the Abracadabra from Bell's.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That's why
Yeah.
I saw it. I picked it up while it was sitting there. I'm like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, good choice. I
Now,
like it.
before we get into the show, obviously, I want to go over a few things. Go to gotipem.com, GOTIPEM.com. If you are a waiter, waitress, bartender, tipped employee that is out of a job, you can put your info in there, your Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. It allows you to have friends, family, everyone that could help you. Obviously, if you have the capability and are able to help, go there, find someone from your state, find someone that matches your name, first name, last name. Pick it at random. Look for someone who has an X in their name or something like that. This helps them through these trying times, as well as go to rallyforrestaurants.com. Buy gift cards. One of the big things is that people are using gift cards during this time to go buy stuff at restaurants. This is a time to save those gift cards, buy gift cards, and hold on to them. This gives them cash on hand so that they can move forward and continue with a little bit of extra cash as you kind of, and I kind of use the example, you kind of flatten that curve. You give them some money now, and as everyone doesn't rush to use their gift cards when everything kind of goes back to whatever the next normal is. So make sure you go do that. What have you guys done anything special this week? Have you gone through a new TV show? Have you guys gone through a new album, new game? What's been on your plate for this previous week?
Rob and I were really excited to see Streets of Rage 4 get released this week.
Have you played it yet?
Yeah, I have. It's the same button mashing beat 'em up like it was back in the Sega Genesis days. And I'm kind of flopping back and forth between that and FF7 Remake right now, which I'm getting, unfortunately, very, very close to beating. So I'm sure it'll be over with by the end of the weekend. You too, Rob?
Yeah, I'm already pretty much in the building, and
Okay, you're a little
there.
bit ahead of me then. Yep.
Yeah. So and I broke too. I told myself I wasn't gonna play Streets of Rage until I was done with Final Fantasy, and then I was done playing, and then I was just getting ready to hit shut down, and it was just staring at me, and I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm playing it. And I started playing that, and then I shut that down, and then I was looking again, and then I just got Borderlands 3, and I was just about to step into that too, and I said, no, this is too damn late. I gotta get up in the morning.
Be prepared for Borderlands 3. There's like 3 false endings that got me.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, it's not really spoilers because it's in very typical Borderlands fashion.
Nice.
I have played Streets of Rage. That's been a lot of fun. What about Wendy and Dan? What's been taking up your time through the week other than work?
Oh boy, video games and beer. That's about it. I mean, it's 100 degrees every day here now, so can't even take advantage of it. But yeah, drinking and playing video games. That's pretty much been my life.
This weekend we are just now getting into the 70s for the first time.
Congrats.
I know.
It's gonna be 107 here in a couple
Yeah,
of
yeah,
supposed to
right,
be
Wendy, right? Finally.
MLive announced that
Finally.
there's supposed to be a frost still next week too, so hopefully you didn't plan
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Yep.
It's going to be some interesting, usual, pure Michigan weather that we're going to get. So
Y'all are
I mean,
going to get
it's-
sick and think you have the coronavirus now.
Oh,
right?
God.
Man, it's just when there's so many people in this house, is like you get. I mean, you get a little worried about the stuff. I mean, Our middle kid, she had a fever of just over 100 the other day, and I'm sitting there like, you need to get the hell away from me. Get in the room. I'm like, yeah, I'll
Awesome.
take
Go to
care.
your room.
Right, I'll take care of you like 6 feet away, but you need to go. You need to go off. And
goodness.
I was sitting here in this room just working, and I was like, damn, I'm starting to feel warm. And all of a sudden that worry kicks in. It's like, shit. Now it's like, I'm gonna get the damn fever. I'm gonna catch the Rona,
Oh.
and I don't know what to do.
I'm kind of the same way, Rob, where you get into the hypochondriac kind of mindset, where
Mhm.
it's weird that just even go get milk at the store, even for that brief moment, you're like, oh shit, I'm trying not to touch anything, and then you start playing it in your head like, oh god, did I touch something that I wasn't supposed to touch, or the mind starts running.
So
I
I
mean,
gotta go to those small stores. Less
I mean,
people
Yeah.
there.
I think for me, I think the good thing about it is, hey, I can go to the store and I don't look like a suspect.
What?
Wow, my eyes were so white when you said that.
Oh boy.
Wow.
No, and
Rob.
what's really like ticking me off too right now is that I went and picked up some pizza. I'm on my way back here, and I see a funeral home full, and there's like 30 dudes standing outside, clearly not social distancing each other, and I'm like, great, why don't one of y'all just get ready to be up in there too? 'Cause what are y'all doing?
Wow.
Oh boy, Rob.
Damn.
Nothing like telling it like it is.
Hey, this week has been a little dark.
Yeah, I guess so. Wendy, what about
hear
you?
ya.
What have you been up to this week?
So you guys would be really surprised that I actually have my own, what is that, Steam account now?
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out how to work Quiplash so that I can have a game night.
I
Oh.
cannot tell you about once to twice a day I will get a message from a random friend, a random fan of the show, like, hey, how do you do that? And just I need to like pre-type everything I do just to send it to them, just so I can be like, this is it.
Yeah,
Well,
could you send that to me when you're done with it?
yeah, I can send it to
Still
you.
trying to figure it out.
A lot of people that are like, oh, I bought it on Switch or I bought it on PlayStation. I'm like, well, if you don't have a capture card, well, you're pretty much shit out of luck.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and they're like, oh, how much is a capture card? I'm like, they're about $1.50 a piece. And they're like,
You got to install it, and
I mean, the capture card ain't too hard. I have an Elgato right now, which is about 150, which I was using for streaming because I was so before my current relationship, I was kind of going over two decisions: either to spend my time, because I was single for a while, like either I'm going to get in a relationship or I'm going to start streaming on Twitch. And sure enough, got a girlfriend, still together. So I'm like, oh well. Then I lost my job, and I'm like, well, I'm going to try to look for a job. And after a while, I'm like, well, I have a severance. Maybe I'll just take a little time off. Maybe I'll start streaming on Twitch. And sure enough, today I got 2 job offers. So
yeah.
it's going. I feel like I've explained it to a few people. I feel like a high school senior on decision day. I've got like 4 hats in front of me, and I've got to decide and tell the people which one I'm going to take. But yeah, sure, Wendy, I will show you how to do it. Obviously, we will be playing that for segment 3, just like our previous shows. We're only doing 2 segment shows. And of course, this first segment, because I've decided to, is sponsored by Zatuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills, just south of F59 on Rochester Road. Jack's doing curbside. Jack's doing delivery. I did my first curbside thing today for a fabric company over in Milan.
Are you making masks?
That's interesting.
My girlfriend is. So she has been making a bunch of masks. She's actually just got like a bunch of custom fabric, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Harry Potter, and
nice.
Is she doing one with the ones with the filter inside?
Well, she's not. She's giving you the opportunity to put your own filter in there.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a 2-sided mask where you could put your own filter in there, or put it like a specific thing. Like we have heavy duty paper towel that can be considered like N95. if you put it as the filter. So
Oh wow.
Nice.
yeah, and
Yeah,
then
just gonna say I've been looking at taking a little trip down to Eastern Market. There's a store down there called Well Done Goods, and they have a mask that they made where they're using the face huggers from Aliens, and it's complete with the tail of the face hugger, just basically like hanging down, like chest height, and it's like one of the coolest masks I think I've ever seen. So I may actually be going out to grab one of those this weekend.
fun. That's right off of Gratiot, isn't it?
Yep.
Speaking of masks, I got my brand new mask from work today, and it just so happens that it's fire rated. So now I can go into electrical equipment and have the proper PPE while protecting myself from coronavirus. We were using surgical masks prior to that, which we're not supposed to be doing when we're working in electrical areas.
Oh, that makes sense because they could obviously burn your face and
Could just
yeah.
picture that.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't
Actually, we're supposed if we were going into something that's energized, we actually had to take the regular surgical mask off and then perform said task.
I'm surprised you wouldn't use face shields.
Well, it depends what it is that you're working in. If it's in an open environment, then you can get away with not wearing a face shield. I have done some tests where it is mandatory that you not only have safety glasses, but also a face shield. This is pre-coronavirus, mind you. So think of it enclosed space, basically a metal box. And think of it, then you're definitely going to need a face shield in those kinds of situations. And by the way, those kinds of situations, terrifying as all hell. I picked the wrong profession sometimes, I think.
Wouldn't doubt it. That's just hard.
I personally, this week I've been running through a lot. First of all, so even with all the bullshit in April, I met my goal by about 1.5 miles, but I did 100+ miles of exercise in the month of April. So the goal for May is 120, and we're just going to kind of keep increasing it. But along with, I've been starting to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I did get through, and I don't know if we talked about it, but obviously I kind of want to mention it real quick. The Netflix original series Bruise Brothers. Have you guys seen this?
No.
I've only heard bad things about it.
It is awful.
Harry and them are not on it, are they?
Awful and good. Who?
Harry and them are not.
No. This is with S's.
This is everything the culture isn't. Harry, Wayne, Sasha, the whole group, they are not in this one.
Okay.
So it is quite a horrible and good ride. Definitely a lot of fun. It's basically just like, a two brothers type comedy. One's a D-bag who's a little full of himself and the other one's very laid back. So just extrapolate that with beer. Like they're making the same beer and like one of them's just having fun, just like throwing hops around, and the other guy's like got this like fucking chemistry set. Again, if you're looking for a masterpiece, it's not. Far from it, but it is definitely a very, very fun show to watch. I doubt it's gonna get a second season. It was pretty bad.
I don't even know anyone on this show. I'm looking at the cast. I don't know anyone.
They have, I'm trying to think of, the main character I know is in something, very specific.
Orange is the New Black?
Yeah, he plays one of the cops.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I mean, Flula Borg's in it, he's a very well-known German actor. I'm trying to think what movie. I know
Uwe Boll is a very well-known German director, and look how he turned out.
That's fair.
Deep cut.
Oh boy.
I mean, I think it's just the fact that I know him through. He was in Pitch Perfect, and he was in. God, why can't I think of the name of the one movie that he was in? It's not helping me. He's a musical artist too. He's a DJ, so I definitely got a lot of different reasons why I know who he is, but again, it's probably one of those like deep cuts that nobody knows. Matt Bush says Flula, so yeah, he knows who he is.
Yeah.
There was
Matt Bush.
a decent amount of news going on this week, and one of our Jackbox questions was about like pandemic and post-pandemic beers, and there is a brewery in Georgia who has been making pandemic-style beers, including an ale after Dr. Anthony Fauci called Fauci Spring, and. Yeah,
I was wondering where it was going for a second because you said pandemic style, and I'm like, what kind of style beer does that fall under?
So it's a Acai Pale Ale, and then there's also a Don't Stand Too Close to Me German style lager. So it is
Don't stand so close to me.
a brewery from Georgia called Wild Heaven Beer.
I love Wild Heaven.
So they are they're known for their emergency drinking beer, which is one of their more I guess marketing, like that's what a lot of people know them from, is for that beer. So
They have an amazing triple.
I mean, I love a good Belgian triple.
And they had a quad when I was there. It was fantastic. Their brewery is really awesome. They have a really, really cool patio that we really enjoyed for quite a few hours and a lot of beers.
I didn't get a chance the one time that I was in. So I was on the Georgia-Tennessee border. And the one time I had a chance to actually like get some brew touring done in Georgia or Tennessee, across the street from my hotel was this craft beer tasting room, and like I got to pay a specific amount and I got unlimited tastes, so I got hammered.
Damn.
Jeez.
I'm like, well, I could get drunk on 3-ounce pours.
A couple years ago when I went to Atlanta was right after they had changed the laws so that you could actually buy beer, like buy a pint. You couldn't just go and taste beers in their breweries.
Yeah, you would have to go take a tour, and
Yeah,
you could
you had
get
to take a tour.
free samples while you're touring.
What shit show is that? That's kind of bad.
Well, it's because you can't sell beer there. So you have to figure out a way to sell beer without selling beer. So you can give away samples. So if you charge for a brew tour, then they can go on a tour and get samples, which would, equal up to a pint or 2 pints or whatever your tour cost is. So it's one of those where the beer is built into the free tour.
So when you show up and be like, yeah, I'll take 7 tours, please.
I mean, you get some good exercise too.
Yeah.
I had a friend that was living in Atlanta, and I spent a couple weeks down there at different times, 2 different weeks, hanging out at different breweries. And Atlanta has an amazing beer scene. They've got some really good beer down there.
I couldn't even tell you a single beer that I got from that one tasting room. It's definitely deep into my Untapped, and since my personal Untapped is now the Better on Draft Untapped, which is Bod podcast, it's somewhere really, really deep in there. It's probably got ratings too because I was full of myself back then.
Were you using quarter stars to rate things?
I wasn't.
Damn, Star Search.
I wasn't even. I wasn't
Okay,
even
Eddie,
in
man.
my 5-3-1 phase of 5 or 5 drink again, 3 try again, 1 don't even bother. Yeah, so that was definitely back then. Every time that we drink a beer that I had rated previously, like I have to go in and delete the rating because I'm like I don't want to go in and delete old ratings, but if a new beer comes in, I'm like I'm just gonna delete it. So like one of my favorite beers, this was like probably 8 or 9 years ago, CEO Stout was like one of my favorite beers for a while. Now I can't even tell you the last time. I mean, there's so many beers that I love that I can't even tell you the last time I have. I've been cycling through Poet's Breakfast Stout and You Figure It Out from Griffin Claw.
Griffin Claw. Yeah.
Like those have been my real go-tos. But speaking of Dan, remember the beer that we had over in West 50 over in Mississauga?
Not really. I don't remember a lot of that night, but
I don't remember a lot about that night either, too, Ken. That was a pretty crazy night.
Apparently, I don't remember because I don't remember you there.
I was there. Well, I was not early, but I was
I
there.
recall a bunch of Europeans thinking they could outdrink Dan and I.
Oh yeah, that did happen.
It was the French, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was Leffe Brune. I got some Leffe Brune
Ooh.
sitting downstairs. So I found it at the local random party store that I have over here. So I am very, very happy. Speaking of other states and kind of going off of that, here's a fun little trivia fact. In 2018, what was the number one state for beer production? No other caveats, but beer production.
Beer production.
Craft beer production. Sorry. That's the
It's
caveat.
a hint. It's the same state that is no longer the heaviest in beer production as of 2019.
So Rob's out of this because he knows the answer. So I'll leave
This must be a Sporkle question.
Beer
It
production.
is not. Yeah. Craft beer production. What is the top producing state?
It's gonna be a
2018.
bigger state. I'd say Texas or California.
Dan says Texas or California. Wendy, what do you think?
I would say California or Minnesota.
California or Minnesota. Nicholas?
Let's say Colorado.
Colorado. Well, you're all wrong.
Oh.
You're
What
all
else is
wrong.
new?
The correct answer, because you guys forgot about one of the top-selling craft breweries in the world,
Yingling!
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Oh wow.
Pennsylvania
Yep.
was number one. From 2016 to 2018, they're actually, I believe, fifth in breweries per state with 400 plus breweries.
Yeah, I think that's right.
In Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, yeah.
Wow.
So the
They've
Amish
got
love
some
their
really
beer.
nice beer. They've got some really nice beer cities too.
So now that Pennsylvania has been dethroned, who is the leading state 2019? Rob, you're out of this because you already know the answer. So we'll start with Dan. Just one answer, one try.
Oh, never mind. I know now, so I'm not answering.
Dan knows, so we'll go to Wendy.
I'll stick with California.
Nicholas.
I'll go with California.
California is the correct answer.
1 for 2. I'll take it.
So
And it is so close between the two, but and how it flipped, because California beat Pennsylvania by roughly 60,000 barrels.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're
not a lot.
both 3.6 million barrels in production, and California beat them out by just over 60,000.
So Shauna in our chat is saying that Yingling has been donating beer to hospital workers, which is awesome.
Yep, I just found it. Lehigh Valley Hospital in Pottsville donated a 6-pack to their hospital workers 21 years of age or older, obviously.
Illegal in Michigan, but it would be awesome.
Yeah.
You can't donate beer.
You can't sell any liquor for less than what it costs. So donating would be technically selling it at $0.
Mm-hmm.
Now someone could technically buy it and give it to them. But again, when you're doing something like March Draftness, like we do, like we're really graying the law in regards to doing that kind of thing. Because
I assume because you bought it, you can't give it away after buying it.
You can legally, but on the scale of a keg is not as big as the scale of an entire hospital. 6 packs. I mean, we're talking 144 pints. They're talking a 6-pack per person.
Oh, how big is the hospital?
I mean,
Just saying.
that's very, very fair.
Right.
So yeah, plus a lot of it would involve publicity. And if you have publicity plus maybe a DA that wants to get their name out, or someone who wants to, sue, like it's not necessarily, no good deed goes unpunished. Like the whole Maui Brewing thing, how they were, investigated by their liquor control over in Hawaii, even though they were giving away hand sanitizer for purchasing beer, not beer for purchasing hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer for purchasing beer, because hand sanitizer technically has alcohol in it, so an alcohol byproduct you can't give away.
Right. Real quick, actually, for the top production, I want to go through what the top 10 were for 2019, and then kind of go into a question I had about the hand sanitizer thing. So the top 10 for 2019 goes California, Pennsylvania, Colorado's 3, Florida's 4, 5 is New York, 6 Ohio, 7 North Carolina, 8 Texas, 9 Oregon, 10 is Michigan. So those were the top 10. One thing about the hand sanitizer I was kind of curious about, and this kind of comes from your state, Dan, that I saw an article about distributors dumping beer.
Yeah.
And I was really curious about that because I've been seeing all of these breweries that have been, donating beer to have it turned into hand sanitizer. And it really struck me because I was like, well, why can't these distributors try to do that too? I know that they've
does
bought
Arizona
the product.
have a lot of distilleries out there? I think
We only have
one.
like 4 breweries that are distilleries. Now there's other distilleries too.
Okay.
But the way I understand it here, at least, you have to be a distillery to make hand sanitizer.
That's just how you have to do it.
Yeah, so I don't know too much about it.
Well, you
I've
have
never
to have the
looked into
equipment,
making it.
apparently.
Yeah, so yeah, and you're right. I actually sent that same article to Ken and Nick, I think earlier this week, that we're just dumping beer left and right because no one's buying, no one's tapping it. It's going bad on the tap. The guy over at King's, where I got that Crawler we were talking about earlier, was even talking about that. You have to be really selective about what you tap right now. He's got 82 taps, but if it's not selling, it's just going to go bad. So he's buying. They're fire sailing kegs too. He's buying kegs for.
I'm gonna be honest.
$40
I bought from Arbor Brewing today. Did dinner with the girlfriend and grabbed some beer, and every single beer was the same beer it was a month ago.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how, as we're progressing forward with this pandemic, how breweries are kind of reacting or doing, in
adapting.
Adapting. Well,
Adapting.
Adapting is really a good word because earlier this week, my wife Tara pointed out something from Brooks Brewing where it was a video of Kerry Brooks doing a crawling line, and he did over 900 cans in one day or something, like some absurd number. And it was a picture of him just filling up a can, crawling it, moving on to the next one. And, he's making it work in that regard by changing from, bottles into a crawler / canning line. And he's making it work.
Well,
so
he's selling pretty well.
Andrew Starnes over at Rustic Crow was talking about like there has to be some place, an opportunity where like a distillery buys beer and starts distilling beer. Like we had it when Tenacity came onto our show. I have 12 Bolt, which is from an Axel Pale Ale from Motor City Whiskey. Like, there is repurposing that can be done with these kegs that have gone quote unquote bad. But there's I think the problem is that distilleries are too busy making hand sanitizer and they can't they can't necessarily do it. And of course then you obviously can't do it across state lines.
Right.
Thanks, New Holland, by the way.
That I think is where I was thinking.
You said thanks, New Holland.
New Holland, not Obama. Gosh. New Holland.
Thanks, New Holland.
I think that's kind of what I was thinking too. Is if there was going to be that possibility where someone would relax those state laws where somebody could actually take the kegs and take them to New Mexico, take them to Nevada, take them to California, and get it to some place that might be a little over the border to do something with them. But it may even just be with those distributors, maybe for them, with them trying to cut costs and save money, that it may be more trouble than it's worth for them.
Well, it is 7:39. We are going to start our break. So I'm going to have everyone mute. I'm going to get the music going. Go refill your beers, everyone. We will be back in about 10 minutes. This is Better on Draft Podcast.
I'm headed for the city, trouble in my mind. I'm way too young and pretty for things to be unkind. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city, make me start again. Conversation now and then. Gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 oh. I'm headed for the city. See what I can unwind. Always gotta start it to dictate, make it in this life. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city to make me start again. Conversation now and then. Gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby.
And we are back to 17 Better on Draft podcast. My name is Ken. The crew is still with me. Thank you so much for joining us. We are in round 2, part 2, segment 2, whatever you want to call it. Dan, I felt so bad that you were drinking a seltzer all by yourself that I got myself a little Truly.
There you go. Nice. Of course, I switched it up a bit. I switched up to the Irish Red from Fate Brewing. Hey, no, don't worry. I still got most of that left, so you're good.
It just looks like water.
It's exactly what it is.
I feel like that's one of those times where like you could you'd see it and you're like, oh, there's some water that I didn't drink last night that I'm gonna drink this morning, and then sure enough, it just hits you like, oh shit. Like it didn't taste bad last night, but it tastes bad tonight because wow. I
don't know if this would taste bad after sitting out. That's the thing.
Well, not necessarily sitting out, but have you ever bought like a Dasani from like a party store and it wound up being like Dasani lemon? And you weren't expecting like lemon and you're like, what the fuck is this shit? It doesn't taste bad, but it tastes bad because you're expecting one thing and it's something completely different. This is an interesting little story, and I kind of want to get your guys' opinions as we kind of go into segment 2. I'll figure out what you guys are drinking here. Nick with the shades on indoors because it's way too bright in there. So it,
facing due west right now, bro.
One of the obviously heaviest hitted areas was King County over in Washington. And they have a site in a shoreline that is actually getting patients that are stuck there, beer and cigarettes. So you're quarantined for 14 days. You know, everyone has to bring you everything. What are your vice choices? What beer, what wine, liquor, booze, caffeine, video games? Like what are your 2 things you need? I will start with
Just 2?
Just 2 things. That's it.
All we get?
They said beer and cigarettes. So you get two things. It's only 14 days. I mean, you saw those posts. Oh, could you stay in a cabin for 6 months with no internet for $1 million? Bitch, you can't even stay in your house for a week.
Yeah, no shit.
We have learned this, that people
Yes.
are complete liars.
Everyone wants Applebee's open now. They can't take it anymore.
So is that one of your choices, Dan? Applebee's?
No.
So they're getting beer and cigarettes for free. This is taxpayer, not taxpayer funded.
Wait, say what?
Wait, what?
I need to go to this place. That taxpayer paid for beer.
So you get two choices. So for me, I'm gonna go with mind you. So I probably would stick with my whole. I haven't had an energy drink in over 5 months. So I am happy about that. Maybe one day I might give up caffeine, but for right now, I love my coffee. I became into a coffee snob lately, by the way, too. So One Eye Betty's has an amazing coffee that they use that I just got suckered into. Mercury Bar has a good coffee. Obviously, Reputation was all good. And so I've just been, drinking really good coffee. Like I have was it chock full of nuts or whatever? It's some brand that sells Kroger, and it used to be a nut factory that made nuts, then nuts and coffee, and just coffee, but they kept the name. That's at least what the little, tin told me. And,
the story said.
yeah, it's like 12 words. And so, like, that's after my first pot, like, I'll go to that coffee because I'm like, oh, now I'm just drinking it for the fucking caffeine. I'm not drinking it for the flavor, kind of like beer. So for me, I would personally want, instead of cigarettes, I'd love cigars because I need something to pass the time. So smoking a nice little stogie, as long as we're outside. I mean, I don't want to do it inside. And
Better
then
on the oxygen.
Yeah, I don't want to do that, Guy next to me's on a ventilator. Here I am, just quarantined for 14 days. Like, oh, what's going on, guy? So I would want cigars, and you know what I could probably do? I think I'd want a Switch, like a Nintendo Switch. So no booze or anything, but like if I got a Nintendo Switch and a cigars, I think I could pass 14 days without, human contact. What about you, Wendy? What do you got? It looks like you're
I
smiling.
would need beer and books.
Beer and books. What would be the first book you read? Because you can't go to work. You can't, there's nothing you can do. You are stuck in quarantine 14 days. What book are you reading?
Oh gosh, that's a really tough question because I have like 30 on my TBR pile.
So you could name one and tell us, and that doesn't really matter because nobody's going to call you out.
I could probably just make something up. I would pick something from one of my favorite authors here in the Detroit area, K.S. Atkins.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
I'd do the Detroit Brawler series again.
I don't know what that is.
Enlighten us, Wendy, with your wisdom. What is that?
She's an author. I grew up with her here in Garden City, and she wrote a series about a group of friends that live in Detroit, and some of them are pretty funny, man. She did a good job. I liked him.
Okay, all right.
What about you, Rob? You
You
got two things to hold you over 14 days.
Two things. I think I would probably just like the PS4, because I got more than enough games that had me going through that, and Twizzlers.
Twizzlers?
14 days of Twizzlers. Here we go.
Yeah, I can do that.
I mean,
do
you're
that.
getting
Okay.
actual sustenance of like
Right.
Rob, you're
food.
you're getting quarantined and gaining 30 pounds.
Motherfucker, I'm already quarantined and probably gained 10.
Right?
Oh boy.
I mean, seriously. And really, as far and with Wendy, as far as the book is concerned, I probably would have did something like the unabridged version of the Count of Monte Cristo, because that sucker can take you through all 14 days right there with like 1,300 pages of that monstrosity.
What
I
about
don't know.
Don?
I
What
went
about
on a
Don?
cruise one time and read 4 books.
Oh
geez.
goodness. Yeah, I don't think I can go that far.
That was
I
I
awesome.
don't read that fast.
I
What about
am.
Doc?
I'm definitely an audiobooker. There are if a book can catch my attention, I will get through the audiobook really fucking fast.
Mhm.
And if it doesn't, there are a lot of books that I am I'm an hour or two in that I haven't I love listening. I'm gonna be honest,
The
like
narrator is a big deal with an audiobook, though.
100%. So
Yeah, for
when
sure.
it's self-narrated, like Tough Shit by Kevin Smith, great audiobook.
Trevor Noah's
Oh.
Born a Crime.
See, that's the
Amazing.
thing is that
Chelsea Handler.
I love
Er-
Trevor Noah, but I could not get through that book yet. So I have to kind of, try it again. But it's the same thing. Like
Is it because you're not listening? Are you listening to it or are you reading it?
I'm listening to it.
Okay.
That's why the narrator is so important. Like I love listening to America Dissected, the Abdul El Sayed podcast, but I can't get through his book. Like it is just not something. And
And he narrates it himself.
He narrates it himself too, and he
I'm
doesn't
gonna have
have
to get that one.
He does not have a bad voice. He has a very
No.
good. His tone is very good. Everything is really, really solid with what he does. I just could not get into it. Nick, you've had a long time to think. What's your two quarantine options?
I'm with Rob on the PlayStation 4, so gotta have that.
Yep.
And I Ken with cigars and Rob with his Twizzlers. Give me some bags of ranch Doritos, and I am a happy man.
Jeez.
So Nick's gaining 30 pounds. Rob's gaining 30 pounds. Rob, what about you? Or not
What do you
Rob,
mean,
Dan.
Dan.
Yeah, so I got to go with beer because y'all and your Twizzlers and Doritos, I can live
Don't
without
look
that
at
for
me.
a couple of weeks.
I
Wasn't looking at or pointing at you. And then I got to go with my PC because I thought about the Xbox, but I can go online and do a lot more things than play video games. I can go be a troll and talk shit online for 14 days besides play video games. So there's a lot more things to do.
I went with the Switch so that I could do it outside while smoking a cigar, so that I don't have to.
That's good.
Like-
That's a good.
Like
thought
I could,
process,
you know,
yeah.
what happens if the person next, do you want to be yelling at trolls, calling them, assholes, while the guy next to you is, coding or something?
Yeah.
Well, if you're talking about like over
You
like
can't
on a
move
headset,
PC.
yes. Like I don't care about that, but I can talk shit on Facebook, for example, or go on Reddit and talk shit until I get banned. So
if I'm in quarantine, for 14 days, I'm still, and if it's, let's just say, mild symptoms of it, I'm still probably going to end up working from home.
No, you're not working from home. You're 14 days.
So I'm stuck. So I'm stuck inside the room and not.
In my law, you are quarantined 14 days.
Well, then in that case, I don't need the internet. I can disconnect my PS4. I don't want to deal with trolls and all that. Give me.
You don't want to deal with Dan. That's what you're saying.
Well, wait. Does Dan have a Dan? Do you have a PS4?
No,
but
he's only getting a PlayStation.
Yeah.
So
So
bosses
PC.
would
He's
figure out a
only
way
getting a
for me to
PC.
work from home
because
from quarantine.
yeah.
I'm disconnected as well. I mean, I've had more than enough 12-year-olds tell me what they think they're going to do to my mom. Like, what your ass should be watching some fucking Nick Jr. Sit the fuck down.
Nick Jr.
Did you tell him that, Rob?
Is that even still a thing?
I've dealt with some kids like they want to start some shit. I'm like, boy, I'm old enough for the fucking civil rights movement. Do not talk shit to me, because I will come at your ass.
Rob's showing his age.
Hey, y'all made me this old.
Y'all made me this old.
I have a friend
What does that
whose
even
husband
mean?
is a gamer like that, and he'll be in the basement yelling, and he'll come up. Like, we're hanging out for a girls' night, and he'll come upstairs, and we'll be like, "Were the kids getting rowdy?"
Well, someone in the chat that I know, as well as Wendy, a lot of us know because she came on the show. Jennifer has joined the Zoom. Jennifer, how are you doing? How is the weather in South Carolina, and what are you drinking?
It's amazing down here. Nice to see you guys. This is called the $9.99 Lobster Special. It is from 8th State Brewing in South Carolina here in Greenville. It is amazing. It is a dessert-style English barley wine with toasted coconut, peanut butter, butterscotch, and cocoa nibs. You can actually see some of the the actual cocoa in here. It's amazing.
She had me a
life is
barley
good
wine.
here in South Carolina, let me tell you.
I just saw Greenville was on the news today before I came on the show.
Oh God, what do we do now?
No, just because they were opening the malls.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
Well,
because a lot of the breweries down here are like having to like pour their beer, and it's so sad. Like I'm drinking as much as I can, I'm buying as much as I can, and they're still having to pour some beer. It's so sad.
Well, we
I'm
did see
tracking my
that.
package.
We did see this along with Arizona, South Carolina also had to pour a bunch of beer. So I'm guessing there's a lot of. Is there distilleries down there, Jennifer?
Not very many. It's very, very slow on the distillery front. I think there's one, maybe two in the entire area of Greenville. Yeah, the licenses the licenses are coming pretty slow down here. Everything's a little bit slower down here, I'll be honest.
Well, we prompted the question to everyone else in the chat, so you can't get away from it. You are quarantined. You only get two things. This is given to you by the quarantine officials. What are you grabbing?
So obviously the beer is number one, but aside from that, it has to be apples. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I have an apple addiction. I have to have 2 to 3 apples a day, and Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Like the blue box.
The blue box.
100% the blue box. 100%. And I don't care if it's like the frozen version. I don't care if it's like some Disney character. I don't give a shit. I just want the Kraft macaroni and cheese.
I know
Like, that's
someone
gonna
that
be
would tell
my
me
comfort.
like the shapes taste better than the not shapes, and I'm like, it's all this.
What?
No, the spirals
What?
taste better. The spirals taste better than the
spirals.
elbow macaroni. 100%. 100%. I will die on the sword for that answer. 100%.
That is the hill Jennifer is ready to die on. Is spiral
It is, for
macaroni tastes better than elbow macaroni?
It does
Oh,
because
boy.
all the
Yes,
cheese
I
gets in
agree.
the spirals. It gets
Yeah.
in the spirals.
I
More
agree with that on
cheese?
anything
If-
you use macaroni for. Any type
It's
of
a cheese
pasta.
it's a cheese per capita thing.
It is for sure.
Even when I make tuna salad, I use spiral macaroni instead of elbow.
Yes.
Hmm?
Rotini, something. Bow tie, maybe. You have to.
Bow tie is good for pasta salad.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
so excited to
That's-
see you guys. I
that's-
haven't seen you in so long.
Well,
I mean,
we,
Like live-ish.
I mean,
I was
you,
about to
you
say-
stopped by the studio here early,
I
late
did.
last year, early this year. I don't know.
It was a couple of months ago. I think February.
That it
It
feels
was like
years
the last
ago.
show.
You know, when we were allowed to go see people. Remember
It was
that?
like the last show in the studio.
Right.
Oh my gosh, so long.
So, while I have you here, I got a great question for you because I know you travel as much as I used to travel. What is your you get to a new city, a city you've never been to. What is your thought process and how you want to try some beer from out there?
Ooh, good question. So a couple of things. I typically will go to Untapped and just see where my friends have been and then ask some questions. Like I have a lot of friends that do travel and travel for beer like Wendy and I do. And so I might check to see where have people been in the nearby area. But then I also love to go to whatever the nearest closest brewery or beer bar is and start there and then ask a bunch of questions. Like I love to talk to locals. I love to ask questions. Where have you been? Where would you recommend? Where's the next step I should go? And a lot of times it takes me in this like crazy pattern, but I don't care. Like I'll go from place to place to place. I think about when I went to Cork, Ireland. I went to the first place. My friend was still in the hotel. And I just like went from one place to the next, to the next, to the next. And she's like, where are you? I was like, I am so far from where I started, but it's all been based on recommendations from one place to the next. To me, the locals are the ones that tell me where to go.
That's always my go-to is that when I go to a bar or brewery, especially all the times that I was in Seattle, because I was in Seattle so many times this and last year. I was just like, where should I go next? And they're like I'm like, these are all the places I've been to. And what was great is it actually got me into the northern Seattle, like north of the lake, and getting to like not necessarily downtown Seattle or the other like Ballard, which is a huge city area in Seattle that has so many breweries. But like this northern Seattle area just had so many great breweries that I was able to go to, and that's simply from asking, where should I go? Where should I go? And that's how I also found like a cask only bar
Ooh.
brewery.
Yum.
Monkey House, I believe, is the name of it. had like an English mild, and everything was pretty low ABV too. Had an English mild there that was just so fucking good. And what sucked was it was my last stop before, like, I'm like, oh, if I drink any more, I'm gonna get drunk. And at that point,
Right.
I'm so far away from my hotel that the Uber is gonna be fucking expensive. I don't know how parking goes, so if I get my car towed, I am fucked because it's definitely not my car. I can only imagine the pain in the ass it is to get your rental car untowed, like out of a lot. I can only imagine the pain in the ass.
That's when you just pay money. You're like, go figure this out. I'll give you money.
You just go to the I don't know where the car is. It's somewhere.
Like,
Last thing I remember is this place.
Right.
Ask
Wendy,
the
what was that
bartender where they would drink.
Wendy, what was that bar we went to in Miami where we got that amazing like $50 bottle of beer?
Oh.
The look on Ken's face right
But
there
say,
for paying
Ken,
$50 for a
was
bottle
I
of
know. I
beer.
watched
I
Ken
mean,
buy a
It's down the
$50
street from
shot
the
of whiskey.
Wynn.
I was gonna say,
It was
yeah, I
owned-
did.
Hang on, I'm gonna look it up because it was down the street from Wynn,
I
Yeah, 'cause
did.
we
I
got
did
and it was
buy-
owned by the same people. But that that lemongrass sour. Oh my god.
Yes,
it
it was amazing.
You guys spent $50 on infected beer? That's insane.
Oh, it was so good.
I did spend
Infected on purpose.
$50 on that
Was it odd side beer or
Hibiki
something, or?
17.
No, and I mean, to be fair, there's been, I mean, and I know Wendy has probably seen it too on Tavor, that there was a beer that was from Anchorage Brewing called The Deal with the Devil, which is their barley wine, barrel aged barley wine,
Yes.
which it feel like they were just like using wax just to wax something, so they waxed the bottoms of the cans.
I do the
For-
same thing. Oh wait, what?
I like
the
the wax
bottom-
King Cobra tops. So that works.
But I mean, when these
not even
things
a pop
hit,
top, Dan, you're gonna wax a screw
yeah,
top.
Yep.
but I mean, I'll tell you though, when these things hit Tavor, it didn't matter that it was $50, that it was on the site and they sold out in less than half an hour. And then it hit the secondary market, and people started selling those cans for $2 to $2.50
Yep.
a piece
Yep.
for a 16-ounce can of beer. And so $50. I mean, now I'm like, okay,
Not
it's
unusual.
no.
I've sent Wendy some beer recently. I mean, I've sent Wendy some clothing recently.
There you go.
I'm supposed to get it tomorrow. I'm anxiously awaiting it.
Good.
I'm so excited. From 8 Skate. They just had a release,
it
and I
is
had
8
to
Skate.
like set an alarm while I was at work in order to get the beer because it sells
It's
out
so
so
good.
fast.
It's so good. Wendy, you're gonna love the macadamia white stout.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
super excited.
Now,
My
here's
apologies
It's
for
a
the
white chocolate
going on
stout.
here, by the way.
You said it wasn't a white stout; it was a white
It's not.
chocolate.
It's a macadamia white chocolate stout. Correct.
That sounds
So-
wonderful.
So it was Winwood Brewing, and I'm trying to figure out the name of the bar. It was like I don't remember. So I think it started with an L.
I probably
I
have
had
the
to
glass.
send 'em
I can go
back.
find it.
We couldn't finish the bottle of
No.
the big bottle of beer that we bought. So they gave us a wine bottle topper to put on it so we could take it back to the hotel with us. And I
And then we had to
mail
go to
it
the
back
cruise
to
the
him.
next day.
Yep. And I mailed it back to him. That was for my 39th birthday.
I remember that.
Oh wait, I said that out loud, didn't I?
Wait,
Yeah, you did.
You mailed a open beer with a wine top?
No, just the top.
Oh,
Just the top.
Yeah.
The wine
they gave us
itself
the,
we drank.
okay.
They gave us
Mailing that
like,
open beer.
the seal to leave.
Right.
And actually, a question to you, Jennifer, since you have shipped clothing, have you ever had clothing come up missing during shipping?
Knock on wood, never. And I mean, I do that shipping wise, but I also bring back clothing with me when I travel all the time. So it's
So-
always in my luggage.
Hold on.
and I-
Hold on. So
Uh-oh.
how many TSA 5-packs do you get?
Yeah, I was
on
gonna say.
average? Because I get a lot of TSA 5-packs that get
What's a
shipped.
5-pack? What are you talking about?
A TSA 5-pack is when you ship 6 beers and 5
Oh.
show up.
It's a TSA tax for them searching it.
TSA.
Your beer.
It's like a dad tax.
Yeah.
TSA
Yep.
tax.
They happen
Never.
I mean, I actually had my bag checked when I was on my way back from Cuba, and I brought in liquor from Cuba. I'm glad they didn't take my 1 liter that I brought from Cuba, or else I would have been pissed.
Well, so there's a lot of rule because it's not illegal to fly with booze.
Correct.
Because I mean they have duty frees at a lot of these airports these
Yep.
days.
Yep.
But what's interesting is when you fly, because you got to pack it. And a buddy of mine who's a border patrol agent, he brought a very, very good thought to it, and he said, well, you wrap them up in clothes, and so if they don't see what's happening and they take out a piece of your clothes and it unravels and the bottle drops, you're shit out of luck.
Right.
So
Right.
I just had, so I think in 2019, so mind you, I started flying in April 2019, and I had about 60 flights. And at one point, I had 35 TSA tags that said that they checked my luggage.
Yeah,
You actually counted, Ken?
with a beer or two conveniently missing, right?
It was fun because it was like, oh, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3 in a row. Here's both my bags. Here's both my bags the other way. I'm like, motherfucker! Like I am just.
Wow.
See,
When I
and
travel,
both
I
of them. I was just gonna say that both of them come with their own dangers, because whether you're packing their luggage or you're packing something, you're shipping someone through shipping clothing through the mail, that if you don't pack it right, or like you get to a place where, like a facility where they don't care and it gets busted, then you're kind of shit out of luck, and it sucks because you're trying to get some good good threads. Yeah, you're trying to get some good threads to some people, and you want people to be able to try it on, and
Make sure it fits, whatever.
Yeah, make sure it fits, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, your package has been discarded, and
Right.
you're like, well, what happened to it?
One of my T-shirt, damn it.
Where's
Wearing
my
it.
t-shirt?
Yeah, I have a friend who I met in Charleston like last year. I was there for a beer fest, and the beer fest actually ended up getting canceled because of weather. But we went to went to Westbrook because Westbrook Brewing was doing a release of the Mexican cake. And so I went there and I met this guy, real nice guy. He actually came there from Savannah, Georgia. He has a suitcase he literally calls RB2, rolling bag 2, and he brings like the whole, like the shebang. Like he's got tape, he's got the
I
bubble
bring my
wrap,
own
he's got
bubble
everything.
wrap and stuff to
Yeah, the intent
package
is
stuff up when I
that's
go
all
to
it
get
is.
beer.
His entire suitcase. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I've gotten really good at it. This guy's got it like he should like teach a class in like PhD level.
Last
Use a
time I went
masterclass
to
on that.
Atlanta, I brought a spare suitcase. Like I packed everything in my small suitcase and put it in the big one. And my friend actually laughed at me because we went to the dollar store and I bought like toilet paper and socks and stuff that I would use at home when I came home. She goes, they have toilet paper in Detroit, right? I'm like, but I needed to get this beer home. And I literally brought a whole suitcase home of beer. I had to split it between the 2 suitcases, but
Hey,
yeah, and
Wendy,
it was
that beer that you got from Gary, the clothing, that's the guy I'm talking about.
The clothing.
okay. That
That
makes
is our
more
new.
sense then.
Yeah,
He was like, "Oh my god, thank you."
So my coworker that brought me all that stuff from Dildo Brewing over in St. John's, Canada, he just bubble wrapped everything to shit, like crazy, and just threw it in his suitcase and flew back here with no problems.
I always bring Ziplocs too. That way, if it breaks, it
Yeah.
doesn't ruin everything in the
Yeah.
suitcase.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
obviously, just
that bar in Miami was called Kush.
Yes,
Wow.
that was it. That is
USH,
it.
and they were fantastic.
Yes.
They had a secret beer menu inside
Yes.
the menu that if you asked them enough beer questions, they told you about. And that's where we got that lemongrass
Yep.
sour.
KUSH.
Oh my god,
I
it
still
was
have the bottle.
amazing.
I mean, the glass.
Smoke weed every day.
I was gonna say, I feel like
Okay, Nate Dogg.
Miami feels more.
Say when we were going there that it reminded us of Detroit because it had like the murals everywhere, and it was really we liked it.
Isn't Miami more of a Coke town though? than weed. Like,
Probably not in that area.
I mean, I did watch Bad Boys for Life, and I am an expert on Miami now.
I was actually going to say, did you watch Scarface with Al Pacino? Because that was Miami in the 80s.
Yeah, but Dan said now, so I'm referencing a 2020 movie.
That needs to be a remake.
Nice.
That movie needs to be remade.
I think there's enough
No.
remakes and reboots out there
No.
in this world.
Don't
I just
remake
want to
the
see.
good ones.
I would just want to see what it looks like. See how bad they butcher it.
Oh, jeez.
how bad they butcher
no.
Scarface? No,
Yeah.
let's not do that.
That's
Yeah.
no. Let's not do that because then they're gonna remake it and all of a sudden it'd be like fucking like Chris Pine playing Scarface or
Chris
some shit.
Pine. Where'd you pull that name from?
I'm just pulling like any name that's
whitest
just,
All of a
name
sudden,
you
it's
could
Christopher
think
Walken playing Scarface.
Christopher Walken.
Okay, hold on. I would watch
Christopher
that.
Walken as Tony Montana.
I think I would actually
Would watch
watch that.
Christopher Walken as anything.
That
Let's be
sounds
I
honest.
think I would watch that.
If you guys are familiar with Donald Glover's stand up, he's
Mhm.
talking about how everybody wanted him to play Spider-Man. Because obviously, if you know comic lore, there is not there's multiple Spider-Mans. Obviously, there was an entire movie about multiple Spider-Mans. So there's Miles Morales, and they wanted Donald Glover to play Spider-Man or Miles Morales. And people were getting all pissed off. And apparently, there is this one comment that goes, "Well, what if we had Michael Cera play Shaft?" And you're like, "Would you go watch that?" He's like, "Yes." Like, there are things that I would want to see. I would go pay to see Christopher Walken play Tony Montana.
He would just do his weapon of choice dance the entire 3 hours of the movie.
Hold on now. I really want to see Michael Cera play Shaft. Holy crap.
Do you see what you started?
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my god.
Well,
It's for good radio.
there is a Christopher Walken movie where he plays a
Bruce Dickinson.
no, he plays
That was a Saturday Night Live reference. I'm sorry.
Exactly. What?
no, he
So
plays
so fun. You guys know that isn't the Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, right?
No,
It's a
it's
different-
not the Bruce
Okay.
Dickinson. I get it.
He plays a mobster that gets kidnapped. I want to say Jay Moore is in the movie too.
Oh,
Jay Moore.
Yes, Jay
Oh, I do
Moore,
know what you're talking about.
Dennis Leary.
What's he up to
Um,
these days?
Oh, geez, what the hell? I know this movie.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of the movie, but that's it. There was Suicide Kings. There we go.
Suicide Kings. Yes, I really enjoyed that movie.
I could see
I thought it was
that. So, before we end the show, and we go into our game segment. Again, this is not going to be on the audio. If you're video, obviously you'll see this. Lights Camera Pod, which is a movie podcast, has posted nine movies, and you can only keep 3, meaning 6 will be lost forever. You'll never get to see them again.
shit.
They don't exist.
Oh no.
So you're gonna have to
this-
pay
this-
attention. I'm gonna type it as I mention it, just so you guys can see it. So I can. bring
I'm
up the
writing
chat real
notes
quick.
down. So
The 9 options are Superbad, Caddyshack, Anchorman, Bridesmaids, Step Brothers, Billy Madison, 40-Year-Old Virgin, 21 Jump Street, and Coming to America.
Oh boy.
Wow, this actually got easier than I thought.
Those
That
are
is
repeat?
so easy. I'm
Oh,
so
okay.
ready.
all right. Jennifer's ready. I'll let everyone else think. You can only keep 3.
Yep. Super bad, 40-year-old virgin, and Coming to America.
You're
Oh
fired.
my God, that's my list
You're
exactly.
fired. 100% fired.
All right, I got this. This is easy.
The
This
fact,
is better
the
too.
fact that Caddyshack's not in there, you're fired.
Yeah.
Dan.
See,
Whatever.
Caddyshack, Coming to America, and Step Brothers.
Ugh. Ugh.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's an interesting pick. Well, Wendy's got the same as Jennifer. Rob.
Exactly.
Super bad. Coming to America. Bridesmaids.
Wow.
Really?
wow. Okay.
I just want to say, I kind of love that that's your answer.
Is everyone picking Coming to America?
You have a lot of
probably
girls
the
at your
best
house, don't
movie.
you?
I do love Bridesmaids. It is a fantastic movie. 'Cause
It's a damn
that's
good movie.
Is Coming
It
to
really
America 2 still on process to be?
God, I hope
that's
so.
my understanding.
It
Yeah,
should be.
I hope so.
August 7th is still the release date, technically.
I hope Samuel L. Jackson's in that too.
All right, Nicholas.
I'm gonna go Anchorman,
Ugh.
Step Brothers. Oh God, 40-year-old virgin.
Wow.
Why you gotta go with the Farrell double feature?
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Carell double feature. He's in 2 of those movies too. Don't forget that.
Yeah, but I mean, if it was just him, I'd be okay. But I'm not a Farrell. It's like three things I don't want to see in a movie: Will Ferrell, Adam Sandler, and anything done by M. Night Shyamalan.
I agree on that third
Same
one.
character over and over. Will Ferrell's the same character.
Same shit.
It really
Same
is.
shit. Over and over.
I mean, I liked the one that there was the voice in his head.
Yes.
I
When
guess
he goes off, when he does something different, or like Wedding Crashers. Wedding Crashers was fantastic because he
Oh my
had
God,
like
I
a
love that
snippet.
movie.
He was great. That should
Right.
be on the
Anything
list of
with
9,
Vince
by the
Vaughn,
way.
I would pick on that list, though.
If it was in that
What
list
a-
of 9, I would have chosen that.
Rob, how about a
What's the
Will
big-
Ferrell
oh.
movie that's directed by M. Night Shyamalan? Like, seems like a good.
I-
is that two
I'm
Pretty
negatives
sure
that
that's
cross
not a
each other
mix
out?
you'll
And
ever
it's a
see.
positive.
I will not watch anything from that wannabe Hitchcock motherfucker since Unbreakable. Fuck him. Fuck all his movies.
What was
The
that
villain
movie
They
with
can
the
all go
wind,
to hell.
where the wind was killing people? Like, you don't want to see more of that?
Deadly Premonition.
No. That dude, no.
Yeah. Terrible.
I don't know.
All right, so I'm gonna
Terrible
give
with a
mine.
U.
This is gonna be the end. Don't forget to go to North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan, just south of Baseline Road over in Northville, North Center. Go check them out. Grab some beer, some food. Don't say hi to anyone because obviously we are still practicing social distancing, but you can obviously order for curbside pickup. Grab a growler or two. Maybe they have the alt beer, that ultraviolet. On draft, a delicious. I actually got Cigar City to respond to me on Twitter because they're like, "Oh, we've made every single beer ever." I'm like, "Have you made an alt beer?" And they're like, "Yes, it was called alt beer." And I'm like, for those of you on the radio, I just gave a thumbs up to the a very sarcastic thumbs up. So my 3 are going to be Caddyshack, 40-year-old virgin, Coming to America. Those are my 3.
Okay.
That was hard because I love Bridesmaids, but Coming to America, like I love Anchorman, like Anchorman, Bridesmaids, and Superbad. I fucking quote all the time. Billy Madison, the whole Culture Club dance on the stairs, like that's one of my favorite scenes ever in like Billy Madison, Adam Sandler history. And yeah, so that's gonna do it, guys. Better on Draft 217 in the books. Stay tuned for the game. We're going to be playing one round of Quiplash, that is Better on Draft Quiplash, and a couple more games. With that in mind, I will be right back. I'm just going to play the first break again. Better on Draft Podcast.